Let's go Chiefs! We've got some important news coming out of the Chiefs camp as we head into week 4, and trust me, you're going to want to hear this. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel because you don't want to miss out on what's coming. And hit that like button. Alright, so here we are, heading into the big matchup against the Los Angeles Chargers. But there's some concern in the air. Coach Andy Reid spoke earlier this week and gave us an update that's got everyone talking. Defensive end Michael Dana, who's been solid for us this season, is dealing with a calf injury. Reid made it clear that Dana is likely to sit out this game as a precaution. Dana's been key for us on defense, racking up 12 tackles so far this season, but we'll have to wait and see when he can return to the field. In the meantime, it looks like Cameron Thomas will step in to fill that spot. Thomas came over in a trade with the Arizona Cardinals and has been working hard to make an impact. Coach Reid seems confident in him, calling him a smart kid who's been grinding in practice. Thomas had 40 tackles and 3 sacks with the Cardinals, so he's got the potential to step up when we need him most. This game against the Chargers is going to be a big one. We're sitting at 3-0, but divisional matchups are always tough, especially with someone like Justin Herbert on the other side. After this, we've got some tough games coming up against the Saints, 49ers, and Raiders. So staying healthy and getting those wins is more important than ever. What do you all think? Do you trust Cameron Thomas to hold it down on defense while Dana is out? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room, Travis Kelce. If you've watched the last 3 games, you've probably noticed something a little off. Kelce, the guy we all know as the greatest tight end of all time, hasn't exactly been putting up the big, flashy numbers we're used to seeing from him. Through 3 games this season, Kelce's stats are a bit surprising, just 8 receptions for 69 yards and no touchdowns. Yeah, that's not what we expect from him, right? But before we hit the panic button, let's take a step back. First, we're 3-0, folks. So the team is doing pretty well, even without Kelce lighting up the stat sheet. And that's the thing about Kelce, he's not a guy who just cares about numbers, he just cares about wins. He's been saying that himself recently, and honestly, we saw that last season, too. Remember? Kelce was super close to reaching his 8th consecutive 1,000-yard season, but what did he do? He sat out the final game to rest up for the playoffs. And guess what? It worked. The Chiefs went on that incredible playoff run and won a Super Bowl ring. So at the end of the day, it's not about individual stats, it's about teamwork and, most importantly, winning games. But hey, let's be real, when Kelce is in rhythm, the Chiefs' offense goes to a whole new level. And here's the good news, this Sunday's matchup against the Chargers could be just what Kelce needs to get back on track. Historically, Kelce has been an absolute monster against the Chargers. In 18 games against them, he's racked up 100 receptions for 1,223 yards and 8 touchdowns. That's basically an entire Pro Bowl season against one team, hey. Division rival, no less. And let's not forget his last 2 games against them, 6 receptions for 115 yards and 3 touchdowns in one game, and 12 receptions for 179 yards and a touchdown in the other. So, yeah, the odds are looking pretty good for a Kelce breakout. And get this, it might be even easier for Kelce this week. Chargers safety Derwin James, who usually goes head-to-head with Kelce, is out with a 1-game suspension. That's a big break for Kelce and the Chiefs. Mahomes has hinted that Kelce will get more opportunities in this game, but honestly, they haven't had to force the ball to him so far. Why? Because the emergence of rookie wide receiver Rashee Rice as our new #1 target has given the offense some serious flexibility. We also have other weapons like Xavier Worthy, who hasn't even been fully cleared yet, and Carson Steele, who showed his toughness filling in for the injured Isaiah Pacheco. So, there's a lot riding on this offense, and Kelce is just one piece of the puzzle. Now, I get it, some of you might be a little concerned about Kelce's slow start. But let's keep some perspective here. It's only week 4. There's plenty of time for Kelsey to hit his stride, and more importantly, we're winning games. That's what really matters. The Chiefs are undefeated, and we're headed into what many people are calling our biggest game of the season so far, against what many consider our biggest competition in the AFC West, the Chargers. If Kelsey has a monster game, great. But even if he doesn't, as long as we keep racking up wins, we're in great shape. So now I want to hear from you guys. Do you think Kelsey will step up and dominate against the Chargers this week? Or are you okay with him taking a back seat if it means the Chiefs keep winning? The Chargers have some major injury news ahead of their big matchup against the Chiefs. Quarterback Justin Herbert is officially listed as questionable for Sunday's game due to an ankle injury he's been dealing with since Week 2. He re-aggravated it in Week 3 against the Steelers and was pulled from that game. While Herbert was limited in practice this week, head coach Jim Harbaugh mentioned that he's feeling better, but his status is still up in the air. So it's really going to come down to a game-time decision as to whether or not we'll see him on the field. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Two of Herbert's primary protectors, edge rusher Joey Bosa and left tackle Rashawn Slater, have already been ruled out for Sunday's game. That's a big deal for the Chiefs. Bosa is out with a hip injury, and Slater has a pectoral strain. Without them, the Chargers' offensive line looks shaky, especially with right tackle Joe Alt also listed as questionable with a sprained MCL. If Alt can't play, Herbert, if he plays, could struggle behind a patchy offensive line. The Chargers have been experimenting with their offensive line in practice. Jeremy Salyer, who played nearly 1,000 snaps at left tackle in 2022, is expected to start there again. They'll also have Zion Johnson at left guard, Bradley Bozeman at center, Sam Mustipher at right guard, and Trey Pipkins at right tackle. But here's the thing, Pipkins was originally their right guard and had to move to left tackle after Slater went down. So, this will be a bit of a jumbled unit trying to hold together against our defense. Now, we all know the Chiefs' defense has been rock solid this season, and with Bosa and Slater out, it's going to be even harder for the Chargers to handle us on both sides of the ball. And if Herbert isn't 100% or doesn't even play, it could be a long day for the Chargers. So, Chiefs Kingdom, what do you think? Will Herbert make it to the field, or will the Chargers' offensive line issues be too much for him to handle? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and while you're at it, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Chiefs.